Hey everyone, I'm Goldie from Server 73 and welcome back to the Ultimate Guide. This series breaks down Immortals and their ultimate skills, so you can understand what makes them effective, how they fit into your team, and how to bring out their full potential. In this episode, we're looking at Hippolyta, the fire immortal who mixes aggression, disruption, and control into one package. She hits fast, she hits often, and she constantly interferes with the enemy's ability to fight back. Hippolyta is all about momentum. She chips away at energy, slows attack speed, and keeps pressure on the enemy line while your team pushes forward. She fits comfortably into fire squads that rely on timing and tempo, but she can also slot into mixed formations that need a disruptive frontline attacker. If you want to recruit Hippolyta, her fragments can be found in the Hall of Immortals Mysterium shop, random Immortal shards, the weekly Elemental event, the market and the seasonal arena shop. Before we look at how Hippolyta fits into a team, let's start with what her ultimate actually does. Hippolyta's skill is called Flaming Smite. When she activates it, she releases a rapid series of strikes on random enemy troops. Every hit deals physical damage, removes 100 energy, and lowers the target's attack speed by 10% for 6 seconds. Each strike applies its own reduction, so the effect can build as the hits land. At full upgrade, Flaming Smite delivers 5 strikes at a damage rate of 120% each. With her exclusive artifact, those 5 strikes become 7, giving her more opportunities to apply the energy reduction and the attack speed debuff. You can see this in action in the battle report. Flaming Smite activated once and all 5 of its hits connected. Together they dealt a bit over 4.8 million damage, which made up 68% of Hippolyta's total output in this fight. Her normal attacks contributed the remaining 32%. In this battle she's completely unskilled, which makes it a good example of how Flaming Smite performs without any extra boosts. Every crit hit, as you can see in the accuracy tab, where all 5 strikes landed cleanly. Based on the way the mechanics work, Flaming Smite is expected to slow the pace of enemy ultimates over time, because every hit takes away energy and lowers attack speed for a short window. In longer fights, where she has time for multiple activations, these effects would be expected to stack and influence the timing of the enemy team. Now that we understand how Flaming Smite behaves, we can look at who Hippolyta works best with. She performs at her strongest inside a fire team, where every immortal benefits from frequent critical hits and steady pressure. Flaming Smite supports her style perfectly, giving the formation a smooth, reliable flow of damage. One of the first immortals who really clicks with her is Trajan. His skill Rain of Fire boosts the critical damage of all allies and steadily raises the critical chance of fire immortals whenever an ultimate is used. This lines up cleanly with Flaming Smite. Hippolyta gives him several moments to stack his effect, and once those crit bonuses build, her strikes gain far more impact. With his exclusive artifact adding an immediate critical chance increase when the blessing is applied, her next activation hits even harder. Then you have Cyrus, who supports her in a completely different way. His ultimate, Static Armor, lowers the resilience of enemy troops and gives them a chance to be stunned whenever they take critical damage. Because Flaming Smite strikes several times and fire lineups naturally build high crit rates, these stun chances become much more relevant. As Static Armor reduces resilience, her critical hits land more effectively. And with his artifact adding an additional stun chance, Cyrus helps turn those hits into brief moments of control. And of course there's Empress Wu, who takes full advantage of the pressure Hippolyta helps create. Her skill, Imperial Fire, delivers a strong magical strike with a chance to spread to nearby targets multiple times. In a fire formation where critical bonuses are building and enemy resilience is dropping, Wu's bursts land with greater clarity. Every ultimate she casts helps Trajan stack his effect further, and with her artifact improving her spread chance, she becomes a decisive finisher for the openings the others generate. In short, Trajan amplifies her critical output, Cyrus converts those critical hits into disruption, and Empress Wu turns the pressure into heavy bursts. Each one adds to a different part of what Hippolyta brings to a fire team, and together they create a smooth, crit-focused rhythm that fits her perfectly. Now that we've looked at who she works well with, we can move on to the skills that fit Hippolyta best. She performs well with a mix of support and offensive options, and because she gains energy quickly, she can make full use of skills that trigger from frequent activations. Her role in the fire formation is built around steady strikes, so the skills that help her stay active or add extra effects on each activation tend to be the most effective. Energy Shield is one of the safest choices for her. It triggers throughout the battle and gives 3 allies a shield that absorbs incoming damage for a short time. Hippolyta often stands in the front line, so having regular protection helps her survive long enough to use Flaming Smite again. The consistent timing and strong shield at higher levels make it a reliable defensive option in any fire lineup. Rage Blessing supports her in a different way. It boosts the energy regeneration speed of 3 allies during the opening seconds of the fight. Hippolyta already regenerates energy quickly, so this early push can help her reach her first ultimate sooner. Higher teams often look for strong early momentum, and this skill helps her set that pace. For players wanting more offensive pressure, Corrosive Power is a natural fit. Flaming Smite deals direct damage multiple times within a single activation, so she fulfills the condition for Corrosive Power very quickly. After she has dealt direct damage with her ultimate 3 times during the battle, she restores energy and gains increased ultimate damage for a short period. In longer fights, this is expected to help her activate Flaming Smite more frequently and with more impact. Full coverage pairs well with her high energy generation. Every time she uses an energy skill, there is a chance to deal physical damage to the entire enemy team. Because Hippolyta gains energy so quickly, she can trigger this effect with good regularity, adding extra group damage that layers nicely with the crit pressure from Trajan and the resilience reduction from Cyrus. Battle Frenzy builds on the same pattern by dealing physical damage to all enemies after each energy skill and lowering the physical damage of the strongest physical attacker on the enemy side. This gives her more team-wide damage and a small amount of control at the same time. Her fast energy gain means she can trigger this often, helping both offense and survivability. In short, Energy Shield and Rage Blessing support her stability and tempo, while Corrosive Power, Full Coverage and Battle Frenzy turn her activations into meaningful extra damage. Each one fits a different version of her role, and the right choice depends on whether you want durability, faster pacing, or more pressure. Now that we've covered her skills, we can look at which specialization suits Hippolyta best. All 3 of her options improve her offensive output in different ways, but only one of them truly fits the rhythm and priorities of a fire formation. She relies on frequent crits, steady pressure, and fast-paced activations, so the specialization that strengthens those patterns tends to give her the most value. Destroyer Stance is the only one that genuinely supports what Hippolyta is built to do. It boosts her critical rate and increases her damage as soon as the battle begins, which fits naturally into fire teams where crit bonuses build quickly through Trajan and gear. And because Flaming Smite hits several times in rapid succession, any boost to critical rate immediately improves the impact of her ultimate. The early damage also helps her contribute to the opening pressure that fire teams rely on. Of the 3 options, this is the only specialization that plays directly into her strengths. Night Spirit pulls her in a direction that doesn't serve her well. It increases her damage and attack speed after entering battle, but attack speed isn't a priority for her. Since Hippolyta's damage comes mainly from Flaming Smite rather than basic attacks, so the attack speed offers very little. The extra damage is fine, but the overall effect doesn't match what makes her effective in a fire formation, where critical hits and burst timing matter far more. Whirlwind Shock adds periodic group damage every 9 seconds, but that pacing is slow for a fire march. Fire lineups lean on fast bursts and repeated activations, while this specialization offers a single hit at long intervals. It does technically add damage, but it doesn't support her critical chains or improve the parts of her kit that fire teams depend on. In short, Destroyer Stance is the only specialization that aligns with Hippolyta's role, giving her the critical strength and early damage she needs to fit smoothly into a fire formation. The others offer small bonuses but don't reinforce the fast, crit-driven style that makes her shine. Right now, Hippolyta doesn't play a major role in the wider PvP meta. Fire marches as a whole aren't performing as well as they used to, and the frontline style that fire teams rely on struggles against the more defensive and sustain-heavy combinations that players are using today. One of the most common lineups you will see in competitive battles mixes Alex, Charles, Zenobia and Himiko, and it creates a structure that fire marches find difficult to break through. Alexander gives the team steady, reliable pressure through his constant damage boosts, high attack speed, and full control immunity, keeping him active through every stage of the fight. Charles adds another layer of stability with strong team-wide shields that absorb incoming damage and protect the formation from sudden bursts. Zenobia supports the whole line with consistent healing and ongoing recovery, helping the March stay healthy through longer battles. Kimiko rounds out the team with wide magical damage and back row disruption, pulling key targets out of the fight and making it even harder for fire marchers to hold their ground. Against this kind of team, fire simply lacks the sustain to survive and the pressure to break through. Hippolyta also runs into a specific limitation in PvP. Flaming Smite hits random units, and when there are many enemy troops on the field, those hits often spread too thin to create meaningful pressure. Her damage is steady, but not focused enough to make a dent against defensive stacks that heal, cleanse, and protect themselves throughout the fight. Where she does shine is in boss content. Flaming Smite hits several times, but always lands on the same target in PvE, so no damage is wasted. Her fast energy generation and repeated activations make her reliable in encounters where one strong target needs to be chipped down quickly. Without multiple units to split her damage, the randomness disappears and Flaming Smite becomes far more effective. In short, Hippolyta is not a top choice in the current PvP environment. Fire teams struggle to match the sustain and control that dominate competitive battles today. She remains a strong option for boss fights, but her role in competitive marches is limited by how the current meta is structured. And that wraps up this episode of the Ultimate Guide. Hippolyta might not be a top pick in today's PvP meta, but she still brings steady damage and useful disruption to any fire lineup. Flaming Smite keeps her active through the whole fight, and in boss battles she remains a reliable option where every hit finds its mark. How about you though? How are you using Hippolyta? Do you keep her in a full fire march or bring her out for PvE? Let me know in the comments, and if you found this guide helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Godi from Server 73, and I'll see you in the next one.